Is it on? It's on. Great. Perfect. Let's see if I can stick to 20 minutes. Sometimes a little bit of a problem for me, but I'll try today. So today we're going to yet another talk about AI. I think we've had quite a few of these already. I didn't write the title. That was my marketing director because I didn't answer an email fast enough. But I guess here we are. Now we're talking about AI again. So my name is Rasmus Kalms, as you saw. I'm Chief Product Officer at Anthill. I don't know if all of you know Anthill, but we are a technology company. We're a consultancy and we're an agency all wrapped into one. So we build our own software product in collaboration with you guys, actually. We're going to get into more about that as well. But of course, we also help you get success with your technology as well. And also we have the agency side as well to be able to put some wonderful narratives and storytelling on the platforms, the channels that you have in general. So back to OpenAI. Let's see if that logo will change soon. I don't know. A few changes has happened over the last couple of days with Sam Altman going to Microsoft. So that's going to be interesting. But regardless, I think we've established by now that most of us are using ChatGPT or some form of generative pre-trained transformers in our daily life already here today. I would also be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to put up a McKenzie study, because otherwise you can't take me seriously. So here in this recent one from McKenzie, which is actually a really interesting one, it's a few months old now, but 6% stated that they regularly use generative AI for work. And those 6% are from life science healthcare. And I think that's pretty significant. It's cool just because it actually states that we're not dragging behind as we sometimes get blamed for. But in this case, we're actually pretty on par with other industries as well, such as manufacturing or retail or what have you. The only one that's really, aggressively going ahead and has 12%, I think, was technology as well. So that actually goes without saying as well. But it also is, for me, as a guy from tech, I am a tech guy. I don't know how to put my pants in, my shirt in my pants and whatnot. So, but from my point of view, it's really interesting because it also just indicates that we're willing to go a little bit further than we have in the past, but that also we're actively using it for work. We're not just experimenting. We're using GPT or generative AI in order to achieve better outcomes for ourselves as well. So that's pretty cool. And on top of that, all indications sort of point towards why I'm standing here today is there's a lot of interest around it. And of course, it's a big topic here at a summit about customer experience, which is also interesting as well. So, but we can keep talking about technology, but ultimately it's about our customers, right? It's about HCPs, it's about patients. But for now, let's talk about the HCPs. What do they expect? What does HCPs want, right? It's a big question for us to answer. What we found and what the industry has found, of course, is that they expect personal messaging and instant access to information, relevant content at their own time when they actually need it. It's probably something that was spurred on by the pandemic. None of us could really get any access to HCPs, and they also had quite a lot of trouble also getting a hold of us all of a sudden, right? So they became a lot more digital mature during that period, and younger workforce has moved in since then as well. So the expectations on us in order to be able to meet them wherever they are has grown quite significantly as well. So there's a lot of challenges to that. One of those challenges is, of course, the amount of content that we need to be able to push out there all of a sudden, also in order to actually make it relevant, make it personal towards these HCPs as well. So how do we actually go about meeting these increasing demands as well? First of all, we need to figure out what do they really want, right? So if we're going to target any sort of campaign, any sort of message to an HCP, we need to figure out what they want. So here's some numbers from Thermo, which is like a LinkedIn for doctors. You probably know of it. 46% states that efficacy and safety data is most important to them. 40% states that clinical trial data is most important to them. And a whole whopping 8% thinks that patient preferences is most important to them. So now we know a little bit about our HCPs. We're able to actually go in and target a little bit more to them. Let's not ruin the microphone here. But before we do that, what would we typically do then? Of course, we need to go in and figure out who we're actually talking to. So in this case, I've also taken the liberty of segmenting you guys in here today for this talk here. So of course, I've been a little coarse. I only have 2 buckets. So I've chosen this particular persona here with Yan Lefebvre, Senior Global Brand Manager from Pharma. He's known for propelling commercial strategies that expand the company's market presence, especially in Eastern Europe and Asia, utilizing data-driven marketing to refine brand positioning. So he's a pretty smart guy overall, but he has a lot of challenges. He has a lot on his plates, just like everyone in here has as well. That cognitive fatigue is real, right? So he's slightly overwhelmed, and he still hasn't achieved the results that he hoped for. He, of course, also has a counterpart, right? So if we're talking about content supply chain, content excellence, of course, there's an agency or content partner, content factory involved here. This purpose here, we have Sandra Mueller. She's a project manager from an agency. It's a very high energy agency, very vibrant, where she has an opportunity to bring her unique blend of creativity and strategic acumen to pharma and life sciences. So she's a smart woman, and she's also very capable, very competent, a great designer, what have you. So she also expects good work, and she expects to be able to also deliver real value to you guys as well. But that's sadly not the case, because Jan are not really giving her any interesting work. So why could all of this be? Well, first of it, maybe it's because everything is a little bit overwhelming. We were talking about that cognitive fatigue before as well. If we start to list some of the different tasks that we need to worry about each day, there's a lot more than this. This was just, 5 minutes, me just typing out things, defining KPIs, gathering insights, deploying content, coordinating agencies, MLR, being a shoulder to cry on. What does the brand guidelines actually look like? Do we need to update those as well? What's my channel mix? What does my competition look like? And is my product differentiated enough? And how do we do that in Viva again? So there's a lot of worries for us, or there's a lot of things for us to think about in general. But even if you manage to do all of that, because one problem is not enough here, right? So even if you manage to do all of that, you're still facing the problem or issue of MLR. And I call it a problem, which is not really fair, because it's there for very good reason. We all know that. We need to have MLR in place to make sure that we are within bounds of what we're supposed to say, of course. So even with that, it does provide a very real bottleneck for everyone in here in terms of actually achieving any form of real dialogue or personalization with an HCP. So I come from both outside of pharma and inside of pharma as well. And personalization is uniquely hard inside of pharma because of these particular circumstances, right? So if, for instance, it takes 55 days on average to progress a document to approved state, you're not really going to achieve that infamous dialogue, right? So this, I like to use this quote, and it's been challenged before. I have a lot of conversations with customers as well. I hear numbers such as 41 days to get an email approved, or all the way down to 10 days as well, from a recent webinar we had for one of our customers. And that was impressive. But that was just from change management, making sure that we could actually talk together in a more effective fashion, right? So it's all over the map, but it goes without saying that if you spend a lot of time creating this email, and then from when you're done creating that email, you have to wait 55 days because it's in the hands of an HCP. That's not really where we need to be, right? So where do we actually go from here? What we have spotted at Anthill is an opportunity that you guys have probably also spotted with generative AI in order to actually go in and automate a lot of these different tasks, a lot of these different challenges that we actually have in our daily lives. So one of the ways we're doing that is modular content. There's another little buzzword thing that we've been working on for a couple of years in the industry, right? But it has a lot of benefits, modular content. And some of you might be done with it. Some might have huge libraries. Some are still probably also wondering, how do I even get started with modular content? But the benefits of it is pretty significant, actually. So outside of pharma, we don't necessarily call it modular content, we just call it headless content, right? And we have it so we're able to actually hit more channels at the same time. We are more, our ability to reuse content is of course also increased. We're able to more accurately go in segment and target to specific customer groupings as well. And on top of it, and it's what we like to champion at Anthill, is it actually adds a lot of transparency to the MLR process, because you know what the state were of each individual pieces of content. Beyond that, of course, it also provides pretty unique set of guardrails for fine-tuning a large language model as well. Of course, it requires you have a significant modular content library in order to drive real value, but as we will show you in a moment also, you can actually go in and pre-populate that as well with generative AI. So it can really help you speed up a lot of these different improvements that we are looking for. Pretty good with time, I think. So what we've done is we've come up with a product called Arcane. We are currently working on Arcane together with a couple of industry partners, some long-standing customers with Anthill. Probably some of you are probably here. And Arcane is, I'd just like to say, is not a replacement for content management. It's more an addition. It's more like a content management on steroids, if you will. We divided it into 3 different verticals, right? We have Brand Assist that can enable you to go in and rapidly create personalized, modular, and non-modular content as well. We have Content Assist, which is the real kicker for me personally, right? Because if you spend a lot of time creating a modular content library, you maybe have 2,000 plus, or maybe even way more in there as well. How do you find that specific piece of content for your specific audience? That's actually quite a hard problem to solve when you get there. So a generative AI who can go in and actually reason and understand what it's actually looking at is of course a wonderful tool in order to actually speed up the discoverability of the individual content pieces themselves. And then we have authoring assist also. So just like you know from ChatGPT, give it a prompt and then you get something back, right? But what if it could give you back an email? That could also speed up things significantly, right? So again, now we're solving a lot of efficiency problems with Arcane before the MLR bit, right? So what do we do with that? Well, then we have MLR assist as well. So the first 3 pillars are focused in our current phases. The development of Arcane is divided up into 2 phases that we've divided with our customers as well. Phase 2 is also the MLR assist as well, where we can further increase the transparency at each step as well. So complete real business goals without hours of paging through search results. Asking the AI or asking Arcane a few simple questions and getting the results that you're looking for is, of course, a significant improvement to your overall speed in terms of content creation. But of course, actually, sorry, my slides are a little switched around. So let me just show you how that actually looks. So bear in mind, this is a prototype. This will probably change before May, but at least it should give you an indication. So you're prompting it, just like you would usually do. Want to make a REMIPAM email that introduces a patient profile that should be older. It gives you 2 suggestions based on what it knows. It's hooked up to your Viva Vault promo mats. Oh. Here it already adds it to your particular layout. You're not happy, so you can get another suggestion of that layout. These layouts comes directly from our design systems that are built inside of our content management system, Activator. It doesn't have to be though. It can come from Sitecore or whatever you actually use yourself as well. Doesn't matter, it just needs to be HTML and CSS. You can go and you can edit it. You can see, well, how does that actually impact my MLR? Because in this case, we're only using modular content, right? So you can already see, well, here it is deviating a little bit, and you know you should be aware of that, and that, of course, will impact your approval time. So it adds a lot of transparency, and this is a simplified view. If you look at it in Activator, it's much more detailed, but it gets the point across for you. And now you're done, right? So you hit publish, and then you wait 55 days. That's not great. So what we are also adding, and bear in mind, this is one of our suggestions that's out right now. It's similar to the existing MLR transparency that we have inside of Activator. But what it shows is exactly the transparency part. You can see in your document what has been previously approved, what's at high risk, and you're able to react accordingly to that. So risk-based decision frameworks, all of that, it can hook right up to and make sure that your content composites gets to the specific person that it needs to get to, depending on what its risk rating actually is. In this case, it's found a piece of text, a paragraph, a claim that it can't find in your Viva Vault promo mats, it can't find in your DAM or anywhere else that you're actually keeping it. So it's pointing that out and it's elevating the risk rating based on that. And that enables you to actually go in and make real decisions based on that. So to go back to the HCPs themselves, to meet their expectations, to be able to give them relevant content, we need to basically evolve how we work with content. So you need to be able to personalize and segment content automatically. That's of course something Arcane can help you with, not frontline, but when you're doing the content creation bit of yourself, you can quickly create a lot more variations of your content. You can do it faster and much cheaper, and you can do it without agencies. So we're not trying to kill ourselves here or our competitors in the market either, because we love all of them. This is a matter of actually enabling our fellow agencies and ourselves to also go out and focus on more interesting, more impactful work for you guys as well. That's the ultimate goal with why we're doing that. You can discover reuse content more effectively, and you can also break down language barriers to reuse, because how do you reuse across markets as well? It's a constant problem that gets to hit us here as well. But here you can ask it about content in your own question. It can find it in English or German or whatever it is and translate it right back to you. That's pretty significant, and that's pretty cool in terms of overall reusability. It can automatically translate it for you and put it out there as well, ready for approval as well. So Arcane itself is slated for a limited release to these customers that are actually helping us build it right now in May 2024, and then phase 2 starts. And if you're interested in joining us in this, it's a collaborative exercise. The ones who are part of the program knows about each other, and we're actively collaborating together to build this tool, because we don't want to build a big pie in the sky that will just not really be helpful when it actually hits your infrastructure. We want to be able to create something that provides real value for you right out the gate as well. And the best way we do that is, of course, in a collaborative fashion. So I hope sound is on, generally, for everyone. So back to Sandra and Yan. I wonder what they're thinking about this. So let's give them a chance to add their say.
Okay, I will start then. When we met, things were really exciting. We had this great relationship. We were doing a lot of fun things together. But after a while, things really, turned down, and it just got really boring.
I was doing more and more basic content changes. Do you think I enjoyed that?
No, but I had to oversee those changes. I
was doing the changes.
Okay, but if you don't email me, how am I supposed to know that?
It was just so slow, and I got bored.
Yeah, I think the relationship was just not exciting anymore.
We were about to split up.
Yeah, but then we actually found something. We found something great. We found something that is called Arcane.
I put the sparkle back into the relationship and turned the boring stuff into easy stuff. We could do more fun things again and be creative.
Yeah, things changed. Things are much better now. We're back in this exciting relationship. I'm really happy that I got my agency back.
Thank you.
All right, that was basically it from me. I hope you can see the possibilities of what we're talking about here today. That, of course, there's a lot of implications and problems with it, but it is very applicable already today. So I hope you got something out of it, and thank you.